Welcome to the Birthing Conscious Humans podcast. This is the second series with water. And this morning I'm in conversation with Els Soetaert, who's an integrative, somatic and aquatic therapist. Hi, Els.
Hi, Sophia. Nice to have me.
Yeah, thank you so much. We know each other from the water, from David Sawyer's work. And
Absolutely.
you're one of the main assistants. So I know you in water and not through the internet. This is the first time we're doing this.
Yes. Yeah.
And the theme for this conversation is water and birth memories. And I guess I'd like to start by asking you to share a little bit about the way that you work in water so we get an idea and maybe a feel for what it looks like.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'll try my best. And
Thank you.
I worked a lot with babies in the context of baby swimming, and I work in the individual way. That means that I parents are coming and the baby's there, and often I see the baby doing things, reacting on things, and then maybe I will talk to the parents, asking some questions about how birth was.
Yeah.
But I'm quite open. It's not I'm focused on it.
Yeah.
We are going to work on that team or
Yeah.
bird.
Yeah.
It's an open experience, and what pops up there, I that's what's popping up, and when it's just pleasure, it's just pleasure. But when there's something else showing up, I try to talk to the parents to say, you see this, that's how the baby reacts. That's my work with babies. Yeah.
And I hear how you're describing. It's a little bit the feeling of the water itself, like it doesn't push things. Water sort of unfolds things when things are ready to.
Yes, you couldn't say it better. It's true. It's water. I go into the water like it's a sacred place. It's a non-judgmental place also. Water doesn't judge. That's also a way I try to be open towards what's there in the relation from the parents to the baby and to the water also.
Yeah. And I think the way, you hold space in water is also part of the experience. And I think water does invite this sort of neutrality from the practitioner.
Yes. It's also the practice for the practitioner to really hold that open, non-judgmental place where you say it very keen and so things can unfold as natural or as honest. Also.
Absolutely. What kind of things are you seeing? Can you give us an example so we could visualize it? For example, like in a baby or a kid, is it a movement, a physical thing? Is it an emotional? What are you seeing?
Yes, there are several things I see. It's also the relation with the mother or the father when they are stressed. It's really an invitation towards the parents to less stress when they are not so at ease in the water. So I really invite the parents that they really can trust the baby being, holding the baby properly, but also that the water can support the baby and not only the parent. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to work in the water. So the water, they need to trust the water themselves too. So there's a lot of, work. It's not work, but attention towards that. And so the baby can really trust they are carried by the parents and by the water, or by me, of course, but and include the parents with them. That's one thing. You have a question.
I was just noticing how allowing the person or the baby that we have in our hands to be supported by the water. I think because David's work in particular does also include a sort of Watsu or aquatic bodywork background rather than a baby swimming background. I think that relationship with the water, where in fact the water is almost like the third member in the relationship, how trusting we are with the water itself. It seems that the water does the work rather than the practitioner, sort of the witness, and reads the story, whereas the work sort of is the interaction with the water.
Yes, it is in the first place also the water. When you allow the water, well, when you allow the baby to trust the water, the body will unfold also more easy. It's the stress in the body still, or the exploration, feeling the water is more easy when it's supported on a relaxed and trusting way. And there it starts to really the incorporation of this feeling. I can trust it. I can trust myself. I can trust life. I can trust how I will unfold and discover me. And yeah, it's true. I used, of course, Watsu or healing dance, supportive ways, but on a baby, that's not totally the same. But
because I think the experience you're describing is even more organic than that, like the allowing the sort of birth memories to unfold is not about following a specific sequence. It might form the holding, the sort of allowing in the holding, but not the doing of a certain way in the water.
Yes, yeah, like in normal baby swimming, you have exercises, we have to do it. No, I trust what is coming, and I do have a pattern because I only see them for 3 times, for example, but in there's a lot of space really to let baby unfold. And what is also important is that we need to witness also. It's not like I'm supporting well and I'm at the same time chatting with the parents. It's really holding the space of the witnessing to say, I'm here too. And when the baby is laughing, I mirror the experience of the baby. Oh, that must be fun. Or when it's a bit curious or looking at the mother in a very warm way, then I'm witnessing their relationship, their connectiveness, the connection they have or create. And so I'm not in the middle into I try to be a bit invisible in a way, but visible for the baby. But when there's in the relation to the parents something happening, I really back up a bit, so they can have their connection and safety time, and reconnection time also. Of sometimes when word was difficult, and
it feels a little bit like water. You know, water will sort of come in and then open up and give space. And it's that dance between knowing when to show up and be present and be seen and to witness and to speak the words. I think what you're bringing up is really important. In, you know, so much of baby communication goes unnoticed because it's nonverbal. And
it is nonverbal,
it is nonverbal, and by speaking it, you're really saying, I see you, to baby.
That's the main thing, to really to gain trust and to strengthen the connection. And and also when I said I see your hand moving open and closing like a pulsation, and it's an expanding and a contraction also. Like you say, it's the contraction is more, I'm here, I'm talking to you. That's more a smaller place. But expansion is really when and something is rewiring or something, you need to give the space so it can be integrated in the body. And often people think when the babies are all the time moving, that's a good thing, but sometimes there's movement and sometimes there is rest, so the experience can be integrated. So
Yeah.
you really need to see this kind of movement, from movement, rest, integration, like a cycle.
Yeah.
And then you have babies that are really not moving a lot. So there you have to also, it's nice and easy. It's easy for the parents to move them in the water because they're easy to handle. But you really need to see, okay, how can I interact with the baby that there will be response and they will feel their strength and movement. Yeah. And when there's babies are too much moving, stressed, and we have, how can we invite them that they can relax?
Yeah. This is really the first ones you describe sort of feel like the convenient babies, you know, the ones we almost take the most liberties with because they are silent or, you know, don't do much. But then, you know, my question would be, what are they feeling? What are they seeing? What's going on for baby? And we tend to be scared of silence and stillness and nothingness. So inviting more engagement, I guess, would then invite more engagement with life also.
Yes, and also like I can be there like I am in a way, like I can move, and I don't have to be silent. For my mother, it's more easy, you know, I can interact and I can be somebody of myself.
Yeah.
And also feeling my own strength. I can feel my own strength and discover your own strength. It's yeah. And I invite the babies that, and I let the feet push against the wall or against the breast, so they can feel their strength, and from closing, unfolding, it's a very basic movement. They're really nice to integrate for them. And when they feel their strength, and really the strength comes from the feet towards the hips and then to their tiny upper body in the vertebrae, and the arms are open, you really see the eyes also more present, and they're really, here I am, and this is to be recognized. That's a moment that you really, I can see your strength. And so it's little things, but it's important things.
Absolutely. And this is so, you know, this is the power of the work. It's so subtle, but to be offering that opportunity to a baby that age to really embody, to really step into their body. I think we frequently think of water as a place to relax and let go and become fluid, but yet in fact it's also a place to really be dynamic, feel the gravity in our body, this pushing, there can be tension in the water. It's not always about letting go.
No, there can be tension in the water, but the tension is not a fighting tension.
Yeah.
It's the body, you know, we have the fight and the flight reaction in our body, and the babies also have that, and or the freeze, or the dissociation, or the floppy babies, like, oh, they're easy to handle in the water, but they're not interactive with the water. They're then we invite them when they're overactive, like the immobilization nervous system is more in online, then okay, how can I see that the body can be more relaxed, like then the opening and the opening and the closing is more in, not in a very powerful way, but you invited to do it more in a gentle way. So when it doesn't have to be pushy all the time. So you can open and close in a gentle way also. So then there's my attention. So it depends where the baby is in a way.
Yeah. So it's almost what I'm feeling is a pattern of, is there a fluidity in the movement, or is there a sort of break in the movement or a tension in the movement? Is there a collapse in the movement? I guess this is what a pattern would look like physically in the water, and you can feel between your hands.
Yes, like there's babies when well, some babies are born with bumps first, and the pushing pattern I see then is often, I don't say it's always like this, because between birth and when they come to the water, there's already evolution. But often I see that they push and they push until the hips. But then there is a blockage, so they don't know how to transference the strength towards their upper body, and really to reconnect the lower body and the upper body. So we have different reconnections, remembering of the body parts to reconnect. So we have the body halves, we have the upper and the lower body in the pushing, and we also have the left and the right, of course, also. So these are things we can invite to be discovered, or strengthened, or more loosened when the pattern is so done with a lot of stress in the body and fixation in the body.
But all this does require from you, the therapist, the practitioner, to have an understanding of what birth looks like in various circumstances, like there's a breech birth or a cesarean birth, or the different kinds of cesarean births and what that might look like in the water. So you have an idea of what you're seeing could be the result of, let's say.
Yes, it's all about curiosity also. It's being curious. What do I see here? And curious in an open sense, not that I know what is happening. That's very important. I don't want to impose. It just, could it be that? And then I question also the parents a bit more, or just holding the baby in this open question. Because we are not always sure. We have empathy with what could have happened, or how could it have been for the baby, or which feelings goes with the experience of their birth, being like with cesarean, not being able to push it themselves and open their body through the how do we say it in English? Vaginal birth, yes, to the birth canal, and being still folded, being taken out of the belly. So they have this opening quality they didn't discover yet. So they can be scared of this also.
And then it's phenomenal to see how these patterns that haven't been explored, follow us all the way into adulthood. And then, you get into the pool for training, and it's, I remember when I first experienced one of my birth memories, like, where did that come from? So it's sort of latent material informing our experience constantly.
Yes. It's our first layers of how we react in the world, how we move in the world, how we are and respond in the world.
I think what I treasure from our work in the water is this, the compassionate witness, this curiosity, this, you know, there's ethics involved in this, I believe, that, you know, when you're holding space for such a malleable field, to not impose, to not superimpose, to not intend, but to really honor the allowing with integrity and with compassion is a big part of this work.
Yes, yes. It's part of the integrity we need to to keep. It's allowing and not pushing. When we push, we're not so integer anymore.
Yeah.
So of course we can make mistakes. They are not mistakes, but it's also a search. It's also allowing, okay, let's look together. It's also, how was it for you? It's allowing yourself also as a practitioner together with the baby and the parents. What happened? Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
And okay, that's not the way. Let's try something else.
Yeah.
Allowing that too. Okay, we didn't know that, but that was not quite the good way. No. So it's also, okay, we don't push now. We do something else now.
Yeah.
For example.
And I think the other powerful thing about this work is when a baby comes to the water, they obviously come with their parents. They don't come alone.
I insist on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is that, you know, how the water remembers the family field, the interconnectedness, the what needs addressing, not just within the body of the baby, but also what's happening between mom and baby, or dad and baby, or even between dad and mom, or and so forth. There's like a ripple effect.
Yes, yes. Well, as I said in the beginning, the parents come for baby swimming. So it's only when I see really, okay, there's some patterns really showing up, then I invite them about, okay, bird patterns and talk about it. But in the beginning, the parents come and you see already when they come, husband and wife, or that, oh, my husband is staying out, or my wife is staying out because she doesn't like the water. You already have that.
Yeah,
It can happen that the mom is staying outside of the water. So
yeah.
that also says something, but it's okay. Then the father is there and we can have a relation with the father. It's also fine.
Yeah.
Or when the mother is, I'm showing something and the mother is trying it out for herself, that father is wandering off and going down in the water, exploring himself, but not being with them. So that you can see. But there I don't talk much about it. I just, like I say, it's a field and it's open, and I'm feeling with it with the baby. And when I see nice moments between the parents and the baby, like I told before, I really back off and allow them to unfold that moment. It's so sweet to see it, and it's so fulfilling for me also to be allowed to witness this sacred time with the baby. So there I don't impose myself, but I'm witnessing it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I am witnessing a sort of awareness unfolding, not just in therapy and water, but also in birth and pregnancy. When baby's story shows up so clearly, it's sort of saying we are aware from before we are born. You know, we might not speak, but the level of awareness, I think this was the biggest awakening for me, coming to the water and kind of remembering my own birth experiences and through remembering my own birth experience, because this is part of the work, you know, part of the training is to, it's an embodied experience. It's not learning theory.
Absolutely. No, no, no. That's why you have the, you can empathize more also. And yeah.
I think it's important to do that.
Well, with an example about that is that really I had once a baby that was cesarean, and when opening up and pushing with the feet against my breast or the mother's breast and holding the rest of the body in a soft way in the water, and when the baby pushed, the opening up was overwhelming. So there we really had to pace the opening up. So the feet can be on the breast, the baby is a bit folded, and then we open a bit the body, but a little bit. So the pacing for really from folding to opening can be in the right tempo of the baby. So the baby's nervous system, nerves are not overwhelmed. That's important.
Yeah.
That's not only on a physical level, but another thing was with another baby there, the baby didn't sleep well in the night, a long time. And there was a lot of fear, I think, about abandonment. So the baby was put aside after birth because the mother had to do some surgery after.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of grief in anger and grief in the baby, but also in the mother's tissues.
Yeah.
So we didn't work in the water. We just sat aside at the poolside, and we talked about it. So I talked about, okay, that must be hard for you, but I also acknowledged that it must have been hard for the mother, and that both missed one another. So I really did it on a slow tempo, also speaking slower.
Yeah.
And you see the baby listening.
Yeah.
And you see it resonating in the mother. You see that at last her separation, her grief, her guilt feelings maybe which go with it are heard. And the stress of the body that she was holding and the baby was holding could release it with birth, with tears. There was a friend with her, a girlfriend with her, also witnessing, and she was touched by what was happening also. And this was more on an emotional level.
Yeah.
The heart could de-stress, the nervous system could. And a week later, she came back and she said, "Oh, the baby's sleeping very well now."
Yeah.
And it was really a deep, deep release.
A deep emotional release from the system.
Yes.
Which is, you know, going back to the sort of umbrella theme for this podcast, which is remembering more of who we are. It's bringing back essence, bringing back empowerment. Like if hadn't been seen or witnessed or addressed, you know, baby and mom would have continued, but perhaps there would have been a rift in that relationship over time. Whereas sort of remembering it is also about bringing it back into the whole in a more, whole.
Yes. Yeah. It's about the unknown or the unseen things, and or the repressed movements or connections, or it's acknowledging how it felt like on an emotional level or on a physical level, maybe on a spiritual level. It depends how you look at it. And when you really acknowledge it, and as a parent or the babies, you see it rewiring, then then there's a possibility for reconnection between parents and re-strengthen or repattern the how do you say, the bonding with mother and child, for instance, which is important, of course. Yeah.
There's also this feeling in me that the more we reconnect the fragmentation, let's say, that took place during the whole birth journey, and we regain fluidity in that fragmentation in the water, because just as an environment in itself, it invites that fluidity back into then sort of babies can be more of who they are. They can be more of their essence, more of their gifts, more of their intelligence, rather than reacting to broken down.
Yeah, it's like you say, otherwise we react and we don't act in life. Then it's more a survival style and not a style that comes from curiosity. And for me, curiosity is important. Babies or mothers, they're curious, or I am curious, of course, that we keep going, the curiosity in a way, not to know how things are actually, but it's an open invitation and an alertness, like when a mother is not so at ease in the water or can't swim that well, you can feel it and they're very alert. Where is the border, or is my baby going not to drown? Or so there's a lot of stress and alertness to it. Then it's not about curiosity. Then it's about surviving and seeing where are the predators or where are the dangers here.
Absolutely.
And so we try to turn the stress and the alertness like towards curiosity. How does it feel to be to let the baby just at the right pace and at the right tempo be carried by the water, and not that you don't have to push the body up in the water so it can't feel the support of the water, because we hold them. Some mothers hold them almost out of the water because they are afraid that the baby's ears will be wet, or because they don't like it themselves, for example, the ears going wet. But that's a baby, it's not them, so they have to be open to let them explore. How is it with your ears in the water? And because I'm afraid, you have to be afraid. No, that's not how it goes.
And then you're it's also an opportunity to break the pattern, let's say, to slow down and notice that it doesn't mean that because I don't like water, I don't get like getting my ears wet. It means that baby has the same necessarily.
Yes. And sometimes, like I said, maybe there is something because a mother cannot be in the water or really is afraid of the water, which so it doesn't. But the father likes the water, so the baby can have the experience.
Absolutely.
Oh, water is wonderful. Life is wonderful. I can be. I don't have to be like mom, right? And mom, it's okay. Mom can be scared, but you don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think water is is such a uniform medium for everyone. I see it here. I live on an island. Most men do water, so it's it's an invitation into the pregnancy and birth field to feel part of something through the water that they understand and they know well. And it really helps that bonding with dad, which can otherwise, sort of the whole pregnancy and birth experience can be quite alien to them, or it might take time for them to bond, whereas through the water, everything connects.
Yeah, well, they can find, fathers can find a way to support like the mother. So I also have a time that I do it vice versa, because now we live in a vice versa world sometimes. But I let the father support the mother, like the head is on the shoulder, and like it's and the baby is on top, laying on top of the belly of the mom. So, and the mom can trust. So it's also, I see then, okay, can I trust that
Yeah.
that daddy is going to hold me and the
Yeah.
baby? Can I close my
Absolutely.
eyes, or do I?
Absolutely.
So, and some fathers, they really like it a lot. They
Yeah.
can they
Yeah.
have the relaxation of the mother, and
Yeah.
then connection with the
Yeah.
baby, but in in relation with the mother. So it's not mother is not excluded. She's
Yes.
in there,
Yeah.
and so there you have the totality of their
That's it.
little
Yeah.
family
Yeah.
connecting.
In right relationship to each other, everyone sort of finds their place. And especially, yeah, the example you bring forth in preparation for birth as well, setting up
Yes.
that scenario to be held and supported through birth as well as a woman. Um,
Yeah.
Before closing, just one question, which is, I guess, is a personal question, because I feel that to really talk about this work without talking about the personal experience of it as a practitioner, like, it's so embodied. It involves so many hours underwater ourselves, and almost like the training is remembering our own birth journey.
Yes.
And it's not a course that you do, online, or it is physically demanding as well as emotionally demanding to integrate what comes up. I'm just wondering what your experience of that part was.
Um, yeah. Well, it was a long journey. But recognizing the oh, where what shall I pick out of the
Yeah,
course?
that's
Because
okay.
there's a lot of things that you unfold, and it's also a deepening all the time.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of anger in my body,
Mhm.
and saying no. There were a lot of, and I want to do it alone.
Yeah, right.
Yes. So you can see it with babies also when they're older, trying to swim. I want to do it alone. You don't
Yeah,
have to help me. Don't
yeah,
take me. So I had that a lot in my body. So for me, it was also important to, and that took maybe the longest time,
yeah,
really relate to the practitioner also
yeah,
in a way,
yeah,
and trusting enough, and then um, really opening my heart and
yeah,
rediscovering my heart. That I remember moments that I was underneath and with my head on the water also,
mm,
and really listening to my heartbeat. And first I did it more or less alone. I was always supported by the
mm,
practitioner, but not really in connection with the
yeah,
practitioner. And later on, I really could feel the hand of the practitioner, and
mm,
with the heartbeat, I felt also the hand. So this is, I can be there in connection, and I don't have to do anything.
yeah,
I just can relax in myself and with the other.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah.
this was, I
Beautiful,
think, for me, most
beautiful.
important.
Yeah. Thank you, Elsa. I mean, I think that you, as a closure, you touched on the most, let's say, treasured, powerful part of the water. Like, it will take the heartbeat and amplify it, so it can be heard in
Yes.
a way that on land, it's not as heard as it is in
Yeah.
water. So really going back to the heart as that pulsating, yeah, center.
It is like, yeah, it's like you say, it's a pulsation, and it's
Yeah.
allowing to pulse in yourself, and behind your own boundaries,
Mm,
and trust that it will
mm.
be answered in a correct way.
Thank you, Els. Thank you very much for sharing time and space with me online like this. I wonder, I will include details in the recording, but if someone wants to get hold of you, or can they have an experience online or in the water, or where are you at the moment?
Well, at the moment there is, I cannot work in the water because of the COVID pandemic, and that's one thing. But people can connect with me online if they would like to and have questions about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say where you are in the world?
Oh yes, I am in Belgium, living in Belgium, and a little hour from Brussels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Els. Thank you very, very much. And I hope to see you soon in the water.
Oh yes, yeah, I have to say a lot no now. So that's now difficult to say no now. But we're holding the space. So once you really touch this in the water, it's possible to touch the water in your own body also on land. That's what I try to remember.
Yeah. This is, yeah, we are a container of water. So in a way,
yes.
Thank you, Els, and thank you for listening in.